The idea of innate gender differences, differences that are present from birth, is a really big discussion. Some people strongly believe that boys and girls are fundamentally different in their brains and behavior, while others argue that most differences we see are learned, not inborn. It's a complex issue with a lot of different viewpoints and not a lot of easy answers. One of the main areas of debate is cognitive abilities. Some studies suggest that, on average, boys tend to score higher on certain spatial reasoning tests, while girls might do better on verbal fluency. But it's really important to remember that average doesn't mean every single person. There's a huge amount of overlap between the groups, and many girls excel at spatial reasoning, while many boys are excellent at verbal tasks. Individual differences are far greater than group differences. Another controversial area is personality. Are boys naturally more aggressive, or is that something they learn? Are girls inherently more nurturing? Again, research shows some average differences, but huge individual variation exists. Some studies suggest that certain hormones might play a role, but it's far from a simple story. Many factors influence personality, from genetics and biology to upbringing and social environment. It's unlikely that one single thing shapes who we are. Then there's the question of how these potential differences affect things like career choices. Do innate differences lead to more men in STEM fields and more women in caregiving roles, or are societal expectations and gender stereotypes a bigger factor? Many argue that societal pressures and unequal opportunities have a huge impact, pushing people towards certain paths regardless of their natural aptitudes. Think about it. If girls consistently face discouragement from pursuing science, we might not fully see their potential in those fields. The way we raise children also plays a huge part. Do we encourage certain behaviors based on gender? The toys we give children, the activities we encourage them to participate in, and even the language we use can shape their development and reinforce gender stereotypes. These subtle but powerful influences can easily overshadow any innate predispositions. What makes this whole discussion even more complicated is the way science is interpreted. Sometimes, small average differences between groups are blown out of proportion, creating a narrative that ignores the massive individual variation. This can lead to harmful stereotypes and assumptions about people based solely on their gender. Many argue that focusing too much on these minor average differences ignores the much more significant influence of social and cultural factors. Another significant aspect of this conversation involves the impact of gender stereotypes. From a very young age, children are exposed to expectations and messages about how they should behave based on their assigned gender. These stereotypes often reinforce the idea of inherent differences and limit individuals' potential. For instance, boys might be encouraged to suppress their emotions, while girls might be steered towards nurturing roles, irrespective of their genuine interests or abilities. Researchers use many different methods to study these ideas, from brain scans and hormone studies to observational studies of behavior and large-scale surveys. But the results are often open to different interpretations. Some studies might highlight small average differences, while others find no significant differences or focus on the massive individual variation. Also, how the studies are designed and the questions asked can dramatically affect the outcomes. There's no single, easy conclusion. So, where does this leave us? The controversy over innate gender differences is a highly complex and nuanced one. While some studies may indicate average differences in certain cognitive abilities or personality traits between genders, it's crucial to acknowledge the vast individual variability within each gender. Societal expectations, cultural norms, and upbringing all contribute significantly to shaping individual behavior and choices, often overshadowing any potential innate predispositions. The ongoing debate highlights the importance of considering the complex interplay of biological, social, and environmental factors in understanding gender and human behavior. It's a discussion that demands careful consideration, respectful dialogue, and a commitment to avoiding harmful generalizations. Ultimately, understanding human behavior requires a holistic approach that considers the multitude of factors influencing individual development. Oversimplifying the issue by focusing solely on innate differences, while neglecting the powerful impact of societal influences, is not only inaccurate but potentially damaging. The goal should be to promote inclusivity, recognize individuality, and create a society that allows everyone to flourish, irrespective of gender.